Hey everyone, my name is Emma and welcome back to Emma's Story Central, your center for all the best stories on Reddit. My sister took my brothers and I in when we were just 4 female, 5 male, 6 male, and she was only 19 at the time and did sacrifice a lot for us, including her boyfriend she'd been with since she was 12, who broke up with her when he found out that she'd be applying for custody of us because he wasn't ready to take on such a responsibility. My sister at one point in time was working 3 jobs to even be able to provide for us. I never went without food or clothes or even toys. But the one thing I went without was growing up in a nurturing environment. My sister was always stressed and irritable. I also felt like she had resentment towards us at times for having to be stuck with us rather than pursuing her dreams. Like, for example, if we did something as small as spilling a glass of milk or breaking something, she'd have an overreaction, yell, and lecture us about how hard she works to get it and how we need to stop being so careless even if it was just an accident. My sister is now doing much better in life and no longer have to work and is happily married. She has a 2-year-old and is pregnant with her second. I've seen how she treats them and I can tell she loves them very much. I even watched her toddler spill a glass of milk and she was so calm and loving about it. She even jumped on this new gentle parenting trend. She wasn't like that with me, so I called her out on it in front of my brothers and her husband. I told her that it's unfair that I didn't get the gentle side of her, rather I got the harsh and cold side of her when I, 17, was just a child. She was shocked to hear me say that and started crying, saying she did her best with what she had. My brothers surprisingly stood up for her and told me that if she was that bad, then why am I still living with her, and that she was an amazing caretaker and took us when our own mother abandoned us, so how could I be so selfish and accuse her of anything less? It got really contentious, so my sister ended up excusing herself to her room, but in the end my brother, whom I'm really close to, is angry with me. So now I'm here wondering if I was wrong for calling my sister out. You're an idiot. Your sister dropped her whole life at 19 to take care of 3 kids. I understand being upset at having a less than perfect childhood, but childhood doesn't magically stop at 18. She was still a kid when she was taking care of you 3. No shot she was stressed and having major difficulty. And now you're looking at her, finally able to be an adult without the frantic panic, and you resent her for now having the support to take care of her children the way she wants to. You're an idiot. I wanted to add her other option is that she didn't take her younger siblings in and they were placed in a foster home. You should be praising your sister for her selfless sacrifice she made for you all. Instead, you criticized her for her lack of patience with you and your siblings during that difficult time. You need an enlightenment to appreciate what you have instead of being focused on what you didn't have. Christ, you're an idiot. You're stressed out, overworked. Teenage sister wasn't the nurturing parent she's become as an adult, so you want her to treat her kids the same way. You should be apologizing, thanking her for giving up so much for you, and praising her for somehow becoming a wonderful mother. Now for the next story. So I live in a quiet rural part of the world. There's lots of logging, hunting, trapping and mining that happens all around my neck of the woods, and honestly I'm fine with it. I work in a field that's affiliated with this kind of industrial work. However, I've worked hard to make sure I live far away from other people's BS so I don't have to deal with this kind of stuff, but of course my neighbor changed that. I moved to my home about 2 years ago in the early summer. I'd always wanted to live here and it was perfect until the middle of my first winter here. While we were outside working, my younger dog ran off into the woods. Not uncommon for her, she likes to explore. But just after we started looking for her, we heard the sounds of an animal in distress not far from us. We went as quickly as we could to find the source of the noise. That's where we found our dog caught in a wolf snare. The only reason she survived was because she had put her leg through the snare as well as her head. So her leg protected her throat from full strangulation. We were able to free her and she recovered quickly. I know the guy who set the traps, as it turned out. He's my neighbor. When I spoke to him about, he refused to take it down, even though it's very close to the property line. Now for context, me, male 24, and my GF, female 23, love this dog so much. She's the sweetest pup and she's been through a lot, medical issues and injuries. She is a huge part of our world. My GF would be destroyed if anything happened to her. The dog did well for another year until today. I was at work when I received a call from my brother. The same dog had gone exploring while he and my GF were outside working. They heard her making sounds of distress not far away and rushed to her immediately. They found her again in a wolf trap, set by the same guy in the same place. For more context, this guy has never said anything to us about where he puts her when he sets up his traps. But it's along a trail near my home that people walk and ski on, often with dogs. These traps are baited with meat to attract wolves, so obviously it would attract dogs too. My brother and my GF, with the help of my mom, were able to free her just before I managed to get there from work. They had also run into the owner of the trap on their way out of the woods. When they confronted him, he simply said our dogs shouldn't be so dumb and it was his trap line. We told him if he didn't dismantle the traps we would. He simply replied, "Oh, okay," and left. Our dog is okay, and due to how close his traps are to our property, we have reported him to authorities. But so far we have heard nothing. So as a group, me and my family have decided that if they want to threaten the safety and freedom of us and our loyal dogs, we will take it into our own hands. Starting this week, we will be going up there daily to trip every single trap by hand so they can't catch a dang thing. Don't get me wrong, I have huge respect for hunters and trappers, but not if you're irresponsible in trapping in what is essentially people's backyards. I'll make sure you never trap a wolf or anything near my home again, you a-hole. Don't FCK with my dogs. Edit. The land the traps are on is public land owned by the government for use by anyone who lives here. It's in the same area where I harvest my firewood. The neighbor in question lives male 4K from this area, and I only live a few hundred meters away. It's not his land at all. He simply has a trap line that, according to some more research we've done, might not be legal. Also, apparently they aren't even wolf traps, they're wolverine traps. I've lived here for decades and I've never seen a wolverine once. You're an idiot, and a complete idiot. You're going to be criminally prosecuted. This is going to end badly, and you have no one to blame but yourself. That you're also endangering your family is asinine. Tampering with traps is a crime. Trespassing is a crime. Letting a dog run off leash in a way that creates a nuisance is a crime. He probably has cameras up, and by your continuing willful misconduct, you're convincing him to use that clear evidence to prosecute. Googling your name will then bring up criminal violations, which employers won't like. You're now the terrible neighbor who moves from the city and tells all the rural people to stop doing legal things they've always done because it inconveniences you. You're alienating not only your neighbor, but everyone he tells, and you're going to get the game wardens after you. You need to control your out-of-sight dog before it starts running deer, especially in winter. That calorie expenditure can lead to the deer's death. You're an idiot. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome is a sign of madness. Put up a fence or keep your dog on a leash, or it will end up in another trap. You've let your dog get caught by the same trap twice. Now for the next story. We had been together for the past 2 years, an age gap of 6 years, and a romantic heated relationship that started as colleagues when we worked together. Few months ago, he quit his job and a few weeks later told me that he doesn't think it's going to work out between us. I asked why, and he told me a few reasons that honestly made no sense. Still, I started trying harder. Then he told me he wants to be free to date others but still wants to be sexually exclusive with me. I'm like a fool though. If I gave him his freedom by saying yes, he would realize that he does truly love me. And after all, he wasn't gonna sleep with anyone. That happened last month. He was married for 12 years before we started dating, so I thought it's because he doesn't want to feel tied up again unless he is sure. His words. All this time, my boyfriend was very affectionate towards me. There were no signs of him losing interest in me or lack of passion. We had crazy intimacy, and I melted in his arms every time we were intimate. We went on dates, saw each other regularly, and he was always loving towards me except those unusual things he said about being free and things not working out. He had also stopped saying he loves me. Initially it was less and then it was none at all. But I discounted them, thinking it was just his trauma from previous marriage. Fast forward to last week. It was my birthday, so he arranged for us to get a weekend away together. Really romantic one. With boating and a cabin in the woods, etc. We had a really passionate night together, up all night, multiple rounds of lovemaking. Next morning we went boating in nature, just the two of us. It was perfect. When we came back, there was a car waiting for us outside our cabin. A woman steps out of it, and I ask him who she is. He says it's his friend X, and she probably stopped by because she owns a place nearby. X had been his friend for over 4 years. I knew about X but had never met her in person. He made sure of that. I asked him, I think twice, that there is something between them. He vehemently denied. I asked him one more time if there is a future where he thinks anything can happen between them if he was single. He said he was appalled at the thought. So he asks me to sit in the car and approaches to talk to her. She screams and asks him to introduce her to his friend Akami. I walk towards her and say hi and introduce myself. She says if I know who she is, and I say yes, that she is a friend, etc. She asks me if I know she is dating him. I'm shocked. I ask her if they are intimate. She says yes, and that they have been together for the last year. At that time I couldn't breathe. I ask him with great difficulty that how did this happen. She adds that a year ago he professed his love to her. Told her that she has always been the one he has been in love with, but timing has never been right. And they have never been single at the same time, and after 5 years life has given them a chance to be together, so he wants to be with her. And after some thought, she said yes and they became a couple. She then mentions that he took her to meet his parents last month and has been introducing her to everyone as his girlfriend. I feel like someone has stabbed me in the back and punched me in the gut at the same time. A whole year. I look at him and all he says is that I didn't know how to end it with you. I was just hoping you'll just leave on your own. And then proceeds to say that he loves this other woman and wants to be with her. I stand there motionless. I was a transitory nobody to their great love story 6 years in the making. I felt so worthless and still do. He didn't even give me the respect or dignity to let me know that he is over me and wants to be someone else. He just kept me on the hook. I asked him if he really wanted me to move on. Then why do anything nice for me? Why this trip or anything? His answer was that he felt obligated and kind of sorry for me. His girlfriend then says that she also feels sorry for me. My self-esteem was shot and I feel my heart sinking. This person that I loved for 2 years didn't even think about me or my feelings even once as he did all of this. He made me the side girl and I didn't even know. And he didn't even want to be with me at all, just that he felt sorry for me. He bid me goodbye and they both left together. I was left alone in that cabin on my birthday. I cry every day. I did truly love him. I don't know why he did that. Or how did he manage so well? Or how could he fake his love and affection for me? I feel like a worthless piece of shot. A step in the ladder to someone better. I got so depressed that I couldn't get out of bed in the morning. I think about the past and all of the lies seem so obvious. But I trusted him so much. I also lost my best friend. Not an idiot. I'm so sorry. He was a piece of trash, terrible person. You deserve much better. The only good thing is now you know he cannot lie and deceive you anymore. Find someone you can trust and confide in, perhaps a family member. Get plenty of rest. Time will eventually heal your wounds. Not an idiot. Just a point. He was married for 12 years before you started dating. Had he separated from his wife and moved out before you started dating him? Or did he cheat on his wife with you? If he cheated on his wife with you, you already knew he was a cheater when you started dating him. A leopard doesn't change his spots. If he had already separated from his wife properly and then started dating you, you have my sympathy. You are going to find, in a few weeks, that you feel a whole lot better about this. He wasn't worthy of you. He will continue to cheat. He will cheat this new woman sooner or later.